WarCry Battle Report, hosted by Semi-Casual Gaming with your host Nathan. We're going to be doing some reports back at home again. It's been a while since I've done one of these. So what I'm doing today is we are focusing on these new army that I got, or rather a warband, called the Scions of the Flame. I'm pretty excited about these guys. I kind of liked how they looked and such. And they have a whole bunch of damage output. You see they're not really painted, but my goal is that they can earn their colors, so to speak, in a gauntlet. So the next few reports are going to be going up against my other 3 warbands. Now, as you see here, I got the leaders of each warband up front. I'm ready to square off against the Scions. So what I'm doing today for the next couple of reports I'm doing here for this little series, I'm going to try to be as random, or allow as much randomness as possible. I'm not going to have any control. The decks I shuffled, but I'm going to pull from them randomly just to try and keep it a little, cleaned up and different and such. So we'll do the rolls here in a little bit. I'm not going to go into all the details of each warband, but you can kind of see what they have here. These 2 warbands are the exact same as you saw in my previous reports that I did with my buddies Eric and Cameron. So, so we're going to see how well the Scions can hold up against 3 Aegis Sigmar warbands. So, to start with, as they always have the terrain to begin with. This was the card that my wife drew earlier, so we are looking at this as a setup. It's roughly as close as I can get as possible. There's only one entrance to the mill right there and another entrance right there, so we'll see what mission type it ends up being. It's definitely going to be kind of a unique layout, especially if it's an objective one in the center, because then they're going to really have to be pushing past each other. Otherwise, here are, the 2 platforms, all the usual, the stuff you've seen before. I kind of want to make a quick side comment. If you want to see here, this is my, table that I've been playing the Age of Sigmar games on. It's a card table, and that is the official WarCry mat that comes with the Defiled Ruins box. And you see how it barely fits, and this is kind of why the Age of Sigmar games I felt like were really cramped, because it's not a lot of space. But since it's WarCry, there's tons of room for running around and killing each other like good old classic warbanders. So, alright, well, to start off with, we're going to go ahead and see which of these 3 teams is going to go off against the Scions in the first round. As you see, I've got each color in front of its representative, and we're basically just going to roll them, and whoever gets the highest roll will be tonight's opponent. Ogres. Okay, so the rest of the warbands are going to sit off to the side and watch from the sidelines. They'll get to play in the next couple of reports. In the meantime, I will get the cards out for setting up the different teams. We'll get the dagger, shield, and hammer set up, and then we will do the red and draw from here. So we'll get back to this in just one moment. Alright, so we are now lined up and ready to roll. On the left with the Scions of the Flame, who have to take up half the table, we've got our dagger, the immolator, and the brazen champion. In the shield, we have the blazing lord, the 2 initiates, and 1 of the fireborns. Now, to mention really quick, as you notice, I've got a little bit of paint on them. The initiates have the orange cloth, whereas the fireborns have the orange metal. The 2 in the middle here both can be customizable. I modeled this fireborn to be with the Chris, which has I believe it's -1 to the strength, but +1 to the crit damage, so it has more damage output overall. And then for this initiate, he actually can have 3 different arms, but I really like the look of the Morningstar, so I actually trimmed and put the fire pot on his hand so I could switch back and forth. For this game, however, he will be the Morningstar version, so longer reach, weaker weapon, but we'll see how it goes. Then over here in the hammer, we have the other Fireborn and the Inferno Priest. The main plan of this layout, why I chose to do it this way, is the Initiates and the Fireborn with the better damage output. I'm going to put around the Blazing Chant Lord, who has a ability to give the guys around him +1 attack. So to kind of basically create this blender wherever these guys are located. Both these guys can hit pretty hard on their own from what I'm reading. So I figured I could just throw them wherever they need to go. And then the Infernal Priest has, in my opinion, one of the best quads I've seen. I absolutely love it. It's roll 6 dice, 2-ups do damage equal to half the value of the ability, but 6s give you an extra roll dice and so on, which means that there is a potential of one-shotting literally any fighter with this if you get good enough rolls. Kind of like the Archon the Black's, Curse of Years, where if you just have one lucky roll, it could just completely turn an entire game. But these two are going to, the Fireborn's basically going to try to protect the Infernal Priest, who's going to lob spells and try to get that quad at least once a game. So that's their battle plan. Now, the Ogre battle plan. 5 models, much less table space. The dagger is going to be this Ogre Lead Belcher. The shield is going to be the Ogre Crusher, which is the top profile and the leader. And then there's going to be an Ogre with Iron Fist, or Glutton with Iron Fist. I kind of count the Chain Trap as a Iron Fist for these guys, so they will be the shield, and then the dagger, dagger, shield, hammer is going to be an Iron Gut with a Nobbler Fighter in support. Their goal is simple: go forward and destroy literally everything in their path, especially because there's 30 wounds here, 70 wounds in the shield, and 38 wounds there, which this whole warband I think combined has like 25, 30, 45, 55, a lot less wounds than this one. So really I find with the Ogre playstyle that if they get the mission that has to do with killing an opponent, they do really well on both ends of it. But if it's a mission where you have to control objective, they tend to struggle against some armies. So, however, there's only 8 models in this one. In fact, this is the lowest model count between the 4 armies or warbands that I own. So they might have a chance if there is an objective drawn. But first, we do the cards. Now, the typical order, the traditional order, is going to be deployment, victory type, twist. Let's see what the deployment type is. Clash of Blades. So this is an even across one, so normally I'd roll off to see who goes where, but really, since it's an even, I'm just going to go ahead and make the red be the Scions, because fire, red, good. Blue will be Ogres, because that's the deal. I probably shouldn't put them like that, because that's going to be a huge mess up later. So that's deployment. Now, the victory conditions. Hold our gains. The players roll off, and the winners choose who the attacker and who is the defender. Defender places 1 treasure token on the battlefield within 6 inches horizontally of the center of the battlefield. At the end of the 3rd battle round, the treasure is carried by one of the defender's fighters. The defender wins, otherwise the attacker wins the battle. Now keep note, there's a slight nuance here. The attacker just needs to keep the other one from being controlled, whereas the defender actually has to physically have control of the token. Basically, the tokens are like objectives, but instead of, here, I'm going to set this down before I drop the camera. Instead of it being an objective that's stuck in place, the fighters at the end there move within an inch of it, I believe they pick it up, and then they continue to carry it until they are killed. So, that's going to be kind of a tricky one, because I think the Ogres would love to be the defender, actually, because once they get a hold of it, they'll be nigh unstoppable to kill it, whereas if at the same time, if the Scions can get a hold of it and kind of plug up the Ogres, they might have a better chance. So we're going to go ahead and roll off. We'll see who wins. I'm just going to say the higher dice is the attacker. So whichever one rolls higher. Alright, ogres are the attackers. So the Scions are put on the back burner right off go. The ogres are just going to chase them and try to go after a treasure. And I'll grab one of my little treasure tokens later on. But first, or final, the twist. Let's see what we're going to do to experience. Foreboding location. Ooh. Subtract 1 from the value of abilities to a minimum of 1 used by fighters this battle. Now, that can be pretty tough because the Scions were hoping to use that to power some of their abilities because they do damage based on the value of the abilities. So, and that's definitely going to cripple them. Whereas the ogres, they've got a couple of good abilities too. So we'll see. It's definitely one I think that punishes both teams a little bit. I think the Scions a little bit more. But we will see how it goes. And then there's some of them where they say it's half the value of the ability, half the value of the dice. I'm going to count that first and then -1. So like a 5 or a 6 becomes a 3, which then gets subtracted to a 2. So that's going to really cripple some of these powers. Okay, so the foreboding location where we're trying to hold their gains from the center of the battlefield. We will get the deployment set up and we will get this battle rolling. Alright, here we go. Alright, so we got our deployments. So for the red team, we have the dagger in the middle that are within 3 inches. They can also go vertically. I see the treasure, I'll show you that in a second. Their hammer is back here. The Fireborn is kind of out awkwardly, not really anywhere to go. That put the Inferno Priest up on top. There was only enough room for one of them to fit up there, so that's just kind of where they ended up. And then, of course, their shield is sitting over here to come in on round 2. As for the Ogre Dagger, or the Ogre's Dagger, there's the Lead Belcher. I had him up there on top at first, but then I realized he was going to have to hop down because they're the attackers and they have to get their way to the treasure chest. So I chose not to, handicap him that way. So he's on the ground floor right in front of the doorway. He's actually right up on the doorway, but the model doesn't quite bounce. So I'm just going to give him that 1/4 inch with his first move once he gets out of there. Over here with the hammer, the Nobblers in the middle and the Iron Guts ready to run up the field with their shield sitting over here ready to charge forward and claim victory. So alright, so those are all set up. We're going to go ahead and roll the dice now. Hey, see, everyone else gets to sit back for this game with my other pile of crap. I'm going to roll Scions and then Ogres each time, and then we'll allocate the wild dice accordingly. So we roll 6 dice and you match up the pairs. So we have 2 6s, 2 2s, and 2 single dice as we refer to them. I'll move those over here. Ogres. We got 2 6s, 2 2s, and another pair. That was nearly identical, except there's a 3 instead of a 1. That's silly. Silly, silly, silly. Whoa. So with that being said, both of these guys have to roll off to see who has the initiative for picking wild dice. Yellow has the initiative. And all wild dice today will be representative of the blue and green. We're going to put the green for the yellow, the blue for the red, just because. Looking at their abilities really quick, I'm going to save the Ogre's wild dice. I don't think they really need to use it, whereas the Scions, let's see, they don't really have any abilities that are going to be great right now either, so we're going to save their wild dice. We'll use them for the roll-off to see who gets to go first for the actual play. Actually, I believe since I rolled off the Ogres one, I'm just going to give them the initiative for this round. So, it's going to be the start of round 1 of 3 battle rounds. Ogor Mawtribes. Alright, first activation, I'm going to activate the Iron Gut here. I'm going to use up my double 6 right now, so I'll just put that on this side to activate the generic ability Rush, so he gets +1 to his to the rest of his movements. He has a base move of 4, and so that's going to give him a base move of 5. And I'm going to do both my activations to double move, which is going to be 10 inches, which, as you see very quick, it looks like a lot, but you really measure it out, and he is basically going to go boom, right up against the Billy here, so he can try to climb up there on his next move. The Brazen Champion is going to activate next. By the way, they have the little markers. I know I've got the little bag of tokens and stuff. I'm not going to worry about that for this game because there's literally 13 models, and I can keep track of that. When I play the skeletons, I'll probably use them for memory purposes, but either way, so he is right there. Brazen Champion is going to activate next. He's going to do his move action to pick up the treasure, so he is now holding the treasure. Where are you? Oh, there you are. And then he's going to use his next move action. He's got 4 inches, but I'm basically just going to shuffle him up here so that nobody can climb up there easily. They'll have to work their way around. And his activation. The next activation over here is the Lead Belcher, who has actually clear sight lines to shoot at him. And I'm going to quickly look at one thing to make sure that I use the onslaught correctly. And yeah, so I'm actually going to activate my next double, so they are completely out of doubles, to give him onslaught, which gives him +1 attack for all of his attack actions for this round. Since it doesn't specify that it's a melee attack, it's just any attack, that means I get to shoot essentially twice. So we're going to see if we can pop off the Brazen Champion with a hail of gunfire. Now, and like a moron, I scooched him forward, and since he's right in range and he can see him, he's going to go ahead and open fire. So I'm going to use these dice because they've used up their purpose. So the first fire, we have a strength value of 5 versus a toughness value of 4. So that means 3s, 4s, and 5s will do 3 damage, and 6s will do 6 damage. Let's see how it goes. Okay, that's 12 damage to start with. He only has 18 wounds, so he's going to shoot again. That's... Ogres are horrifying. And only did another 6 damage. So he only has 3 hit points left. So I'll pull the markers out for him later on, but ouch. Alright. We're going to go ahead and take a quick look around, see who needs to move next. We're going to go ahead and actually activate the Fireborn back here. So he'll have a 4-inch movement, so 3, 4, so he'll be roughly about here. And then I'm going to quickly measure. He is within 6 inches, so I'm going to actually activate my first ability, but he's the one that has the throw firebomb icon on it. So pick an enemy fighter within 6 inches and roll 2 dice. We're going to use the 6s, and for each 4 or 5 does 1 damage, and for each 6, because of the foreboding location, it's only going to do 2 damage. So it's not going to do a lot of damage, but let's pop some wounds onto that guy. 4 and 5. He takes 2 wounds. Huzzah. And then his next activation, we're going to go ahead and move him up to, I'll just pull that out. can actually get him into engage range, but the last thing you want to do is engage ogres. They don't make very good brides. Okay, so that fighter has now activated. The last ogre fighter is the Nobbler fighter, so he's got an 8-inch move, essentially 4-inch double, so he's going to go 1, 2, right up the middle. So the ogre player is finished, so the last 2 activations are the other 2 guys. So we're going to go ahead and use up the next double, which was the double 2, to give the immolator activation and have him get +1 to his movement. Now he can't quite get in reach, but we're going to at least see how far he can get. He can actually get right over through the gap and right here. And while it's probably a suicide attack, we're going to go ahead and throw some punches at him. And we have 4 attacks at strength 4. The Iron Gut is toughness 5. So, nope, we're going to use red dice because we're the red guys. Okay, so we're looking for 5s and 6s. 5's doing 2 damage, 6 is doing 5 damage. 2 damage. Okay, so the Iron Gut takes another 2 damage, putting him down to 4 damage taken. Then the Infernal Priest is going to go ahead and basically move up like so and sit, because she ain't got nothing else to do, and I don't think she needs to get thrown right at people to die. So with that, that's the end of the first battle round. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the second battle round here in a second. The 2 side groups come in within 3 inches of the table edge. There you are. So we're gonna look here. So here come the big scaries, and here come the guys that are grossly in the wrong location. We're gonna go boop. 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 And boop. Now, is that a great idea? Probably not, but if we can at least get up and tie up the lead belcher, then, you know, he can't shoot if there's somebody in melee range of him, so he'll have to disengage and then try to shoot. So, we'll see how that goes. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take a pause, put the damage counters out, and roll for the next round. So, alright, here we go. Alright, thank you guys for waiting. Got the wild dice ready. So, yep, he's taken 15 damage out of 18 wounds. He's almost dead already. And he's taken 4 damage on 30 wounds. So, oh yeah, these guys are really tanky. Now, we're going to go ahead and roll off for Battle Round 2's priorities. We have 2 5s and 4 singles. That's very unfortunate for them. And for the yellow dice, we've got 3 doubles. Hoofda. Let's see how each side will take advantage of that. So, okay. Well, we're definitely going to take one of the wild dice. We're going to make that double into a triple. And then, because there's no way for the ogres to take advantage of it, we'll use the other one to make a double 6. So we will have 3 dice. So they're going to get to go first no matter what. Ogres are going to take a triple. And we'll save this one for the last. We'll save that dice for the last round. So we'll put that off to here. And we'll go ahead and begin with the Scions of the Flames first activation. So, alright, we're going to go ahead and take a quick look around the battlefield and see where we are at. Now, I think a fair movement here would have been nice if I was smart enough to pull my Oh, right in front of the camera. Oh. 8 inches. So, yep, I can actually. Yep, none of them are within 8 inches of the fellow, or 4 inches rather. So one of them's going to have to make a double move to engage the lead belcher to tie him up. So the Fireborn will be the sacrificial lamb. It will be the first activation. Essentially, it's going to go right here. Exciting. And didn't have enough move, and I didn't really want to use up my double because they were like 6 inches away, so I couldn't even get close enough to doing the fun stuff there. So, okay, the next activation. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter just because the lead belcher can just disengage. So he's going to go ahead and activate. He will disengage 3 inches, which is approximately there. And with his next shot, I think I won't waste the double yet, so we'll just go ahead and roll the 3 dice. So since we are running out of the other dice and I don't feel like pulling my other ones out, these will be for shooting. So he will target the Brazen Champion again, being 3s or better. Okay, yeah, 6. That's going to kill the Brazen Champion, and the treasure will drop right there for the next fighters plucking. They're so far away. So sad. Alright, the next guy to go ahead and hop up, we're going to go ahead and have the Fireborn do his next activation. He's going to move up his 4 inches, which, you know, I'm not sure all the official rules, but basically if they're touching the wall, they can go up to 3 inches, like they can climb the wall. So he's not holding it. And for his next activation, he's going to do the brave thing and run essentially 4 inches, which is roughly, you know, there, maybe a little bit closer. So he is running off with the treasure, because if he can hop down and hide, then he can hopefully withstand the ogre onslaught. So the next activation, I'm going to have the Iron Gut go, because he's got some fun punches. Let's take a look. He has the mob path symbol and the bull chart symbol, but he doesn't have anything else. So we'll go ahead and activate double number 3 to be the onslaught. So he gets +1 attack for each attack profile. So his first attack against the Immolator, he is strength 6 versus toughness 4, so he'll be wounding on 3s or better for 4s and 8s. The Immolator only has 15 wounds, so 2 6s will drop him right now, so we'll see. First attack. As predicted, he turns around and hammer splats the Immolator flat against a wall. Good job, Dagger. You guys got to be meat shields, so. And he still has 1 more activation, so he will go ahead and move his 3 and +1, so he'll be roughly there. I know it's kind of a crack in the wall, but I kind of did that just to actually expand the platform a little bit, you know. So he's there. He's not activating either of them, but there you go. So the Inferno Priest. We'll see if the Inferno Priest is going to want to go next. How do we want to go about this? I think the Inferno Priest is going to do what's right by their people, and, you know, hope and pray I can get a quad, but we're going to put her right here with the hope of being an inch outside. She can't do it, so she is going to stand in line of fire for the sake of the treasure. And let's take a look. Where is your profile? You know what? We'll go ahead and just do it, because there's really no one else is going to get to do too much more at this point. So I'm going to activate the double 6 for their Fiery Might ability. which adds half the strength characteristic to melee attacks, which is getting negated by the foreboding location. So it's going to give him a +2 strength. So they have they're going to have 3 attacks. Oh, you know what? I just realized it's a 2-inch reach. Guess what? You're rewind. We're going to just, yep. We're going to go ahead and just do a double attack. And with that being said, I'll still use the double to give him the bonus strength so that he'll be more likely to do damage. Or do we want to just do the double attack? Yeah, we'll just do the +1 attack, because then he'll have 4 attacks each with his or her. I don't know. Has long hair, but it's not really a boy or a girl because they cover up the other details and such, which is fine. So, yeah. So here we go. We got 4 attacks and strength 4. So we're looking for 5s and 6s. And 6 is doing 4 damage. 5 is doing 2. All right. So 4 damage done so far, and the second volume attacks another. So it did 8 damage to the Iron God. I'll put the counters on there, but that puts him not quite half his hit points. Oh god. Alright, next activation is the Nobler Fighter. Just because. And he's actually going to go ahead and go in here and do a wait, because he's just going to plug that up, forcing them to go around and essentially mute that entire team. Gotta love missions. Alright. We're going to use our... I guess we're just going to have to use the triple as a double and do a rush and try to get somebody across. So the first one is we're going to do a 5-inch to there and a 5-inch to there, so that the fighter can get basically right there. Run, run, you fools. Alright, the Crusher's going to go do a double move himself. He does have a double, which I can just go ahead and use to get over there. I'm going to subtract a little bit just to make up for the weaving through the ruins, but he'll go right there. And the next fighter, we're going to just do the Blazing Lord. He is going to go his full 8 and go right into that Nobler. Probably a really stupid move, but we'll go around more like whatever. There's really not much more that they can do. The last Ogor is going to go there to kind of try and block him in. So the last activation over here, he is going to do his own 8-inch move to right there, and he is actually within the 3 inches to try and pummel some Nobler. So alright, that was the end of the second battle round. Super exciting. The Fireborn making a clinch play, grabbing the treasure from the Brazen Champion who got blown away, and see if he can run for his sweet dear little life in the next battle round. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera, allocate the wound tokens accordingly, and we'll get on to the final battle round. Okay, so the only wounds were done for the Iron Gut, so he's up to 12 wounds. He's not even halfway down, because that's just how ogres go. We're going to go ahead and roll off for the third and final round of this battle. Alright, we got 2 doubles and 2 singles. Alright, no quads, no crazy Inferno Priest ability. That's okay. And now we grab these dice. And we've got a double and 4 singles. Again, none of the fun quads or crazy abilities and stuff, so that's okay. So, alright, so we have the ogres clearly won the priority, so we'll just give them a 3-3 and turn that 5 into a double. Wherever the 3 is, a 5 double. and 3 singles. And we'll just make this a 666, because that's mucho exciting. Okay, so here we go. Actually, nope, we don't want to do that. We gotta try and steal a roll off, and the reason for that is because the Scions need to go first so that they can get the Fireborn out of danger. Basically put, because the Iron Gut's gonna walk over and stomp all over him. Granted, if he fluffs his rolls, then it's probably game over, because none of the other ogres can get up there. But if if those guys go first, then they can actually kind of screen out the other ogres from climbing on top of there, because there's not enough room for any of them to sit up there. So, okay, let's give it a go. So we're going to have a roll off. We're going to use the red 2 or the yellow 2. Whoever wins gets to go first. The ogres barely won out. Oh boy. Which means that the Iron Gut's going to activate first. He's going to go 1 inch like so. And actually, I'm going to activate, quiet reading time. We got the bold charge ability. I'm going to have activated that until the end of this fighter's activation. The next time fighter finishes a move action within 1 inch of an enemy fighter, deal damage equal to the value of this ability. So I'm going to use the 333 here, and I'll move him now, and then he'll take 2 damage because of the foreboding location. So he'll have 2 damage on him. He has 8 wounds left. And now he's going to swing with 2 dice. If he rolls at least 1 6, the Fireborn goes down. But he doesn't. He has taken 4 damage, so the Fireborn has 4 wounds remaining. That's pretty exciting. So, okay, so let's see the next activation. Let's do a quick measurement. Can you go in for the block? I mean, yeah, but again, he'll just shimmy and get out of the way. But really, what have we got to lose? So we're going to do our first movement. We're going to go 4 inches. Then we're going to use our double 6 to activate the throw firebomb that one has, and try to do damage to the Nobbler, who only has 8 wounds. But again, the most damage I can do is 4. So, oh, he did 4 damage. The Nobbler's got 4 wounds left. Perfect. And then he'll do his next activation to go and block him in. So, which is kind of nice, because the Lead Belcher is kind of tied up a little bit. I think he can still technically see all the way across. We'll have to do some fancy measurings, but essentially he'll activate, he'll go 3 inch, or yeah, he has to disengage and do 3 inches. Disengage is apparently how I say it. He is more than 1 inch away. And he's going to shoot shrapnel at the Fireborn, see if he can try and take it out. So he's got 1 shot, 3 shots. Strength 5 versus toughness 4. So 3s. Now, the Fireborn has 6 wounds left, so if he rolls 2 3s or better, he's down. He only rolled 1. I think that just sealed the game right there, because he'll have 3 hit points left. And I realized an error. I should have used the onslaught at that point, but that's just how it goes. So, alright, well, yeah, the Fireborn keeps there. There isn't any more room up there as long as those 2 stay put and basically attack the Iron Gut. So, I'm going to have this Initiate in the back throw his attacks at the Nobbler, see if we can't drop it. So we've got 3 attacks, and we are looking at strength 3, but the Nobbler is also toughness 3, so 4s, 5s, or 6s. 2 5s is 2 damage, so he's got 2 hit points left. And let's see if we can finish him off. Oh, he's got 1 hit point left, the little bugger. That's so funny. The next fighter to go is going to be... Well, you know what? The Nobbler fighter is going to go next because he is already in technically 1-inch range of the Blazing Lord. Let's see if he can be cheeky and take a few stabs at him. The Blazing Lord's toughness is 4, his strength is only 3, but we'll go ahead and, well, you know what? Nobody else can get up there unless the 2 other characters go through, so we're going to pop his to do the onslaught now, so he'll have 4 attacks. I'm just going to roll all 8 just to be funny, and 5s and 6s. He did 7 damage to the Blazing Lord, didn't quite do half his wounds. So here's basically how it plays out. I'm just going to call it right now. The Blazing Lord activates, kills the Nobbler. This guy activates and he can't get up there because there's no room because of how the Iron God's positioned. This Initiate activates, does nothing. This Ogre Crusher activates, cannot get up there. Those 2 attack the Iron Gods. They most likely will not kill the Iron Gods. But even if they did, these 2 have already expended their actions. Even if they do wait actions, they can only move up. They wouldn't be able to fight. So, with that being said, finishing out the round, it's the end of the 3rd battle round, and it's technically a Scions of the Flame victory. Awesome. I was actually expecting the ogres to win, but that Fireborn coming around and sneaking up and snagging the treasure right towards the end there, that kind of protected their keisters, and the Iron God had 1 chance and I kind of derped it, and then the Leadbelcher had a chance, and both times I should have used the onslaught to get a bonus attack. I probably would have dropped him, but maybe I just had a little too much confidence that the Iron God could 1-shot finish him off. So but yeah, so that is actually the end of the battle round. So awesome, good game. So the Scions have officially won a game. The ogres lost one. I think, again, with it being an objective based game and really only 3 battle rounds with how spread out everybody was, you know, the shields were essentially non-contenders. It was up to the dagger and the hammer to try and do work, and where they lost 2 guys, including the champion that absorbed a whole bunch of lead that got belched at it. There was not much more that they could have done that I could think of. There were no, you know, got no quads for either side, so neither side could do either their super powerful ability, because, you know, always bring a lead belcher for ogres, because their quad gives them a bunch of extra attacks and strength, which is, the attacks are the nice part, pretty much, but otherwise, yeah, it was a pretty good game. So I'll get this all cleaned up. We'll get it staged for the next battle, and then we'll record that. It'll be against the Scions going into the 2nd round of the Gauntlet, either against the Cities of Sigmar or the Legions of Nagash. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed watching this quick little report, although this was kind of a full feature-length version of it. You know, maybe not the most exciting one with how the layouts went, but yeah, I thought it was still a pretty good game, and hope you guys liked it. So if you do like it, please like, comment, subscribe, all those fun things. And I will continue to keep pumping out more reports, and hopefully as time goes on, I can get out to the shops more, get more games in, more recordings, more fun for you and everyone. Ha-de-da. So I'm rambling. You guys have a wonderful night.